Mondo here, Mondo's Exotic Zoo, and we're going to make a video about how to tell the sex of your tortoises or turtles. Alright, so I brought a few different options out here because I don't have too many yet, because with turtles and tortoises it can take like a long time to know the sex of them depending on what species they are. Some grow faster than others, but there's some similarities between turtles and tortoises as far as sexing, and some differences, so I wanted to talk a little bit about them and just let you know that. So I'll start with tortoises. This is Zeus. He's a male Iberian Greek tortoise. And so with the tortoises, the way you can tell is they've got a concave plastron here. It goes in. Oh, Zeus actually just let out his hemipenes right there. That's what that is. So they got a long tail, so they can hold that there, and the concavity helps them for mounting the female during mating. And Greek tortoises, in particular Iberian Greek, they can mature pretty quickly if they're males because they don't get as big, so they don't have as much growing to do. So this is pretty much like my only tortoise so far that we know for certain that he's a male. And yeah, that's the concave plastron, the long tail, and obviously if they ever show you that, then you know for sure. So something interesting about tortoises is sometimes you can tell from like the coloration or the shape. So with cherry heads, like this is Ace, he's my first tortoise I ever got. We're still not certain of the sex, but I'm pretty sure it's a male because he, like I said, the very bright red coloration on him. And he's starting to develop the concavity, and you can see the relationship between his cloaca right there and his shell is very far apart. So his tail is pretty thick, and the cloaca, you can see the opening is here, and his shell is way over there. So that's another way you can tell is the relationship of the cloaca to the shell, and sometimes the coloration. And then something interesting about redfoots is the males, cherry heads don't necessarily have it, but the male cherry heads will have like a wasping, which is kind of like an hourglass shape, but the cherry heads tend to not have it as much, so he doesn't really, but you can still see the concavity and the thick tail. Okay? And then moving into turtles, a lot of people think that the turtles have the concave plastron, but not all of them do. A lot of times it's flat because turtles breed in water, so they don't necessarily need the concavity to help them mount. So this is Pujo. He's one of my first, or he's the eastern painted turtle. He's a little sandy because the bucket I put him in had sand in it. But you can see the tail's nice and long. The cloaca opening is down here in relationship to his shell up there. He's got a very flat plastron and just a very flat shell in general, and that's how the male turtles are going to be. They're very flat because they don't need that space to hold eggs. And then the most funny thing, the popular thing people know about is these long nails. Male turtles have these very long nails that they use for their breeding rituals and things like that to try to entice the female. That's those memes you see where the turtle's like, so that's that. And then so here's a female. This is Frank. We've talked about Frank before. Frank's a little messy too because she's been pooping in her bucket. So this is Frank. You can see Frank's got a very high dome shell here compared to Pujo. Very high dome. And that's for, obviously, for holding eggs. That's so they have more space to hold eggs. And then one thing I forgot to mention is the shell shape for the turtle. She's more round. And then if I hold Pujo up, or if you look at Pujo in there, he's got a more elongated shape. He's not so much circular like she is. And that's all for holding eggs better, being able to have more space for eggs. And then her nails are not as long as Pujo's there. And the tail's short. Much shorter tail, and the cloaca's right there in comparison to her shell. It's a lot closer. And then for box turtles, or wood turtles even, it's kind of more like tortoises because the box turtles, wood turtles, they'll breed on land sometimes as well as in water. And if they breed in water, it's going to be shallow water. So the males will still have a concavity. This is Solo, she's a female. So, oh no, this is Luke, and she's a female. Sorry, I get their names confused. So this is Luke, female, ornate box turtle. And you can see the tail is itty bitty. You can barely see that thing there. Yep, very tiny tail and short nails. But an interesting thing, the reason I chose the box turtle is because sometimes females will have a concavity as well, but it's very small. See? But a male will go in a lot deeper. If I had a male box turtle to show you, it would go in a lot deeper. So yeah, those are just some of the ways you can tell the sex of your turtles or tortoises, depending on the species. Sometimes the color or the shape, the length of the tail, and the indentation in the shell are some different things you can look at. Alright? Check out our other videos and subscribe. And thank you to Flow State Productions for our awesome intro.